I was chided by a member of the club I used to belong to the other day because we're not a member of SWAT. They wanted to know why we didn't make an effort to join SWAT and why we weren't a member of another big, large organization because we could probably qualify to do it. And I explained to them that we don't believe, or I don't believe, and I haven't heard an argument to it, that any of those would benefit us and could we benefit them. Um, there's a whole lot, we're working very hard at level two, at level up, pardon me, coming up in 2 years. And we have to direct our resources to where they need to be. And you'll hear more about it tonight. We need to direct resources on level up. And that's coming up in September 2026. And if you do this with your resources, you may never hit a target. So we're going to bunch it up real tight, and we're going to go right for that level up. And to me, that is a major thing. And you got to think about that. This is the club getting together, putting on a major event. We don't have two nickels to rub together. We really don't, and we don't have a big team and board and advisors and all that. We've got a crew of members, all volunteers that are putting this thing together and working our hearts out to get it together. And you'll hear more about that. But that's what we did. We decided this can happen. It can happen even with all the ifs, ands, and buts going out the way. We can. And I love the whole idea. So when you hear us talk about it, we want you to be involved. If you have questions or comments dealing with our upcoming workshop, seminar, whatever you want to call it, it's called Level Up. All you have to do is email us at level up, all one word, level up at worldwidewoodturners.org. You can email us to that address, give us your input, offer your support, or tell us whatever. And your support will make this thing click. It really will. And we're not going to be standing on a corner shaking buckets at the stoplights. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about right here support when you want to get involved and help us out. And that is, that matters more than any nickel you can rub together. It's if you see people jump forward instead of stepping back. And I saw that at SWAT. I saw you members, and a lot of y'all were there. And you know who I'm talking about. Yeah, even you, who came up and said, "Hey, I just took, I want, and you got to give me some more deal. And I got this, you Turners were excited to be part of something growing like we're growing and showing folks that we can have a good time at this. And we left our politics back on the back table. And I liked it. I liked it a lot. It was so good. So good is to see the expressions on the faces of the folks that said they can't work out because where's your money coming from? Well, it worked out because we didn't have any. We didn't need any. So really good. Hope y'all been turning this week. The weather's changed. Look, I got a jacket on. No skull cap tonight. But we've got some turning going on. I do see that by looking at Facebook, we've got a little more art coming up. If you didn't see it, it's out today. This edition of the newsletter is up. Oh, there's some good work in there, folks. Good work. Yeah. I mean, JJ turned out a really great newsletter. It is top notch. And we do this every other week. Nobody does that. Every other week we show the work of you. And it's got a nice article in it too about the segment going. Yeah, I read a little bit of that when I got to babysit some dogs across the street, and I brought my pad with me. It's just I'm wrestling with two big blabs when I'm over there and don't get a lot of reading done. But I was reading that thinking, there are other techniques that we see in the meetings that we need to get better explained or simply explained to our membership, and they make good articles for our newsletter. So if you can do that with a sketch or photographs or whatever, hey, we welcome it. We'd like to see it. And you got to think about this. If you think it's simple, there are new members who have never seen it before and have no idea how it's done. And it could be as simple as, and I don't want to belittle it, as turning a pen. There are folks that see things with turning pens that or turning things in points that don't realize that they don't see the overall picture of it and understand that that is turning art. And if it's your beginning turner, if you can make it simpler for them or easier or explain the technique, sometimes that's missed in some of the YouTube videos and sometimes it's abused. So, but if you can develop something, it's really, really good to see a turner explain to a turner what a turner can do, because then we know a turner can do it. Right? Turn. Yeah, I got that right. But I like to see how a wood turner explains something. Sometimes it's you kind of take it, but I like to see it. It often makes for an interesting day. So we're doing that, and it's about the top of the hour. And like we always do, if you've got something to go into the gallery, you go to chat and you type in, I have something to show. And then we will call you or call upon you and we'll introduce you. And at that time, you will explain your piece. Have your piece available, have it right there with you. And we're going to ask you a couple of questions. Number one, how big is it? What kind of wood is it or materials? And what kind of finish do you have on it? Those are automatic questions, really, because I don't care what you put a finish on it with. You probably didn't use the one I like. So I got to know why. And we'll share more about that. And oh yeah, we have our east far east contact. I saw him just pop in. Paul Hannaby is up there. So Doc Sparrow, your sidekick's on online right now. Okay,
Yeah, he's great.
he spent
He's
time.
on his side.
I don't know about great, but he's definitely something.
They spent time together, but that must have been a serious workout, huh?
Oh, it was great. Yep.
All right.
All
So
right, well, hey, we're at the top of the hour. We do have some gallery coming in, Captain Eddie.
let's rock and roll. Who's up?
Well, let's see. Let's go take a look at Mr. Dale here, what he's got.
Dale.
Dale, you're up.
Okay. I turned this lighthouse pen from Penn State Industries today.
I like that.
Yeah.
Hey, it does light. Okay.
Oh. And it's made out of body is I cast myself with Alumalite Amazing Clear Cast because of the long working time, because at this time I don't have a pressure pot. And I use eye candy pigments that I had won from Jake Thompson on his first anniversary of the Saturday morning cartoons 3 years ago.
It's beautiful.
And you can see the light changes colors.
Oh, I see that. That's cool.
Popped off.
That looks great, Dale. I've made a few of those myself, and I really like the kits.
Yeah, I had seen them when they first came out in the magazine, and I went to order it, and it was out of stock, so I had to wait a while for them to get them back in stock.
Yeah, I just stocked up myself once they gave me the notice.
Yeah, I just ordered 2 of them because that's all was in my budget, and my wife wanted me to order some medical pens because she wanted me to make one for one of her doctors to give her for Christmas. So when I'm ordering a new one, when they have the bundle where you can get the bushings with them, I usually order the bundle.
Yeah.
I
Dale,
just,
what kind of batteries?
It's got a little thing that comes with it that's a battery.
They're actually AR-41s. Oh,
Here, that's what it looks like.
cool. Yeah. Yep. Did you have any problems with that clip not seating tightly when you assembled it?
No, well,
Okay.
yeah, it moves a little bit.
Yeah, they had a lot of problems with those in the batch that they got. I put a little CA on mine, and that locked it
I
in
hadn't
place.
done that. Partly because I was afraid if I did that, then I'd get the light
Yeah,
glued on, and they wouldn't be able to replace the battery if I
yeah,
sold
yeah.
it.
You don't want to do that.
Yeah, probably going to keep. I only ordered 2 of them because of the cost. I'll probably sell one and keep one. But that's all I've got tonight.
You said what's the cost? What's the kit cost?
$18.95, I think it was.
Yeah. Mhm.
So I'll probably ask like $50 for that because my standard is usually 3 times the price of the kit, except for like the slim lines, because everybody else usually asks about between $15 and $20 for a slim line. So I usually go $20 with a slim line because I don't want to undercut anybody. But I don't usually I don't order and sell many slim lines. So slim lines I got are from the ones I got when I first ordered my lathe and stuff from Penn State.
$20 seems pretty inexpensive. I mean, I don't know what markets you sell them into, but I was selling slimlines for 35. So I would
Yeah,
suggest
well,
try raising your prices and see if they sell better.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a hard
I don't
I
get.
have a hard
I don't get
time
it.
around here selling pens, period, because I get an awful lot of people that say, "Well, I can buy a pick for next to nothing." And I
Uh-huh.
say, "Yeah, but," and I'll take one of the pen you're looking at apart and say, "Hey, you can have this pen for the rest of your life because you can go to Staples and buy the refills." And
I had that.
I'll show them how to take the pen apart and put the refills in and how they can use it for the rest of their life.
I had
And that
that
it's
problem.
most pens are more comfortable to use than a Bic,
yeah.
than your dollar Bic.
Yeah, I had that
And they'll
problem
write
years ago
nice.
at craft fairs, and so I stopped doing craft fairs, and I never had that problem since.
I only
Oh.
do a couple craft fairs a year just to try to get some money to fund my hobby.
Hmm. Now here's a market you would not expect, but as far as selling pens and especially slim lines, millennials, they buy pens like crazy.
Here's a market for you.
Yep.
Take your portfolio with your ink pens in them, and then go into a car dealership and sell them to the salesman. They will buy them just like that. That's what I used to do when I made pens. I deplore
buy,
making
buy,
pens now,
buy
but car
multiples, then buy them
salesmen
in,
will buy them left and right.
Yep.
yep, 10 and 20 at a time.
Yep,
Well,
because
I
they like
have.
that fancy looking pen.
Yeah.
mhm.
I, I
I'm
have a dinner group.
trying to.
Oh, I was gonna say I have a dinner group that I get together with once a month. We've been doing that for like 20 years now. And a while back, I took my portfolio with me because a couple of them wanted to look at pens, and they all bought pens. And then people in the restaurant started coming over and buying pens off me. And I sold about $250 that night, all slim
Nice.
lines.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
one thing I'm
yeah. I
trying to
don't
do
make
right
slim
now is
lines.
there's a couple the stores are set up just to sell artist work, different types of artist work, and I'm trying to get into a couple of them. One of them's being forced to move because the landlord wants to turn it into their art studio. So he's moving the store to his alpaca farm. And I wrote him back and said, well, I'm still interested if the alpaca farms would, depending on where the alpaca farm's located. And it's a store which I'm gonna like, is gonna be commission based. So I'd rather pay him 10% of the value of my sales than have to pay rent plus commission or whatever. You know, because some of them, the stores I've seen, you pay them rent and then they charge commission also. And he says he's going to be just commission based for these new stores. So even if I had to pay a 20% commission, I'd rather pay that than worry about being able to pay the rent too.
Well, here's the thing, Dale. If you're putting your items into a store that charges a commission, make sure you're tacking that commission cost onto the price of your vessel or your pens that you're putting in. So if you're at $50 for something and the facility is going to charge you 30% commission, divide your cost of 50. I'm sorry, take that $50 and multiply it by 1.3. That's your cost that you put into the gallery or the flea market bin or whatever. And then now you've got your 30% paid for.
Yep.
Dane, where'd you come up with the 1.3%?
That's an example.
If the
30% commission.
If the facility is charging a 30% commission,
Okay.
then you just take one. So one is 100% of your cost, and then your point is the commission cost. So if it's 30% or 40%, and then you've got an item that you're selling for $50 or call it $100. We just use working tens. If you're selling a bowl for $100, you want to get $100 out of it, but the facility is going to charge you 30%. You multiply that $100 by 1.3, so now you got $130. So now you're not out the cost of your item.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing I like about if I can get it in the store is I don't have to screw around with the sales tax. The store handles that.
That's true.
Or worry about keeping credit cards secure or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, PayPal. I'm set up.
We lost him.
Well, yeah.
He just. That's all good. Let's go to Mr. Kingsley. Dave, what you got, buddy?
Sure. What I have here is pretty much just a practice exercise. But we were at a downtown and Rosie stopped at the Police Benevolence Association and she bought a challenge coin. And so I just did some practice putting it in a little box. I figure it's too
Nice.
small for donuts, but maybe they can put paper clips in it.
It's a great idea.
Hey, ask a donut expert. They make little donuts for that.
Yeah. But it came out all right. And this is some of that local oak that was a street that the trees were just starting to fall apart. So they cut them all down and everybody freaked about it. And so they're paying a premium for that wood. But it was fun. And I learned a few things. It was good practice. But that's it. I've been spending festival time chasing my grandson around. So
There you go.
we had a blast today. I'm exhausted.
Hey, Dave.
How old is he?
Dave.
He's 26 months.
Oh, okay,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Yes, sir, Dane.
Dave, do you have that bowl with the hole in the bottom of it?
Oh,
You don't have to show it, but do
yes.
you mind if I call on you when I get ready to demo?
No, not at
So I
all.
can use. Okay, right on. Appreciate it.
Dave, you might not like this.
No,
Hey.
no. It's all in good fun. All right, let's go to Miss Ruby. There she is. Spotlight.
Yeah, I left for a while because Zoom kicked me out.
Yeah, it seems to be doing that tonight.
Okay, I've been doing some triplicate turning. So I've got an ash bowl, and I got two smaller bowls out of the inside of it. So that worked out okay.
Nice.
Sure did.
And they're a nice size. And then some measuring spoons. They're they're all off center turned.
Okay.
Those are cute.
Yeah, they're real cute. Look at that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That must be.
I like the handle. I like the top of the handle.
Really
Well, the whole
yeah.
thing just blends right in. That's so pretty. Yeah.
So,
Ruby, how do you confirm your volume with the measuring spoons?
by guess and by golly.
Okay.
The measurements are close enough.
That's right. This one's about a half a teaspoon. This one's probably about 2 tablespoons. And that one's pretty close to half a cup.
Yeah, easily. Yeah. Now, to get your measurements, I mean, first of all, from the beginning, when you showed the bowls, what kind of turning did you say that was in order to do that? You mentioned
I just turned the bottom edge on a straight bowl, and then I cored it.
Oh, okay.
I have a one-way coring system.
Okay.
So that gave me the two inside bowls.
Uh-huh. And then, okay, that now you're measuring spoons. So it was really just measure and measure and measure.
Yeah, I just started out with a couple of cylinders, and so picture this as being a cylinder. I just turned the end of it round, and then put it off center, and then just came in and took this part out.
Just like that, huh?
Yeah, exactly like that. That's how it works.
I know.
Yeah.
So,
She just cut away everything that didn't look like a measuring
Right.
cup or spoon.
You got it. That's exactly right.
That's why we have Billy on board. That's it.
Hey,
So Ruby,
the way I
Ruby,
do,
when you
the way I
when you
do
make
it.
your when you make your ladle, do you turn it all on the lathe or do you carve it out or use the sander?
No, it's all done on the lathe.
Okay. I do my ladles all on the lathe as well with standoffs and chucks. So I was just curious.
So
I'd love to see a demo on one of those.
We have Land Brady did a demo 3 years ago. Showed us how to
Okay.
do a one-piece ladle.
pretty, really
I
pretty.
don't remember that. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, Land Brady.
okay, now
Yeah,
you can go on to someone else.
Ruby, did you make the big one and core it?
Yeah, what I do when I do a coring.
No, I was kidding about the little bowls.
Ladles?
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't do that, Jim.
Did
I
you make
thought
the big
about
one?
it, but didn't do it.
Yeah, okay.
One thing I
Right, right on.
do when I core,
Yeah.
once I've made the big bowl, I have a face plate right here, and I take out the biggest bowl I can out of it, and then I've already got the face plate on the piece, so I just mount that back in the chuck, put a tenon on it,
Yep.
and then do the next one. I found that's the best way to core something and then have to be able to put a faceplate or a tenon back on the bottom.
Right.
Now, Dale just said that he's back, his laptop froze. My
Yeah.
computer had just done that and I had to come back in totally and shut the whole machine down.
There was an update on Zoom. The current PC model is 6.5. The model version that we were using last week was 6.3. So if you didn't update, you're probably going to have some issues with it. Anyway, great stuff. Thank you, Ruby.
Thank
Let's
you.
go.
Really,
Let's
Ruby.
go to Mr.
Really
Al.
pretty.
Nice,
Oh
Hey,
my.
Al.
Oh my. Um, let's
Hey,
see.
I'll guess for follow Ruby. Yay.
Yay. Yay. Is it, it is, I'm here on my phone. Is it better this way? Yeah, it's better that
Whatever you want.
way. Okay. All right. Here's a lot thinking about you, Billy. A mushroom shaped chalice out of redbud, and as you can see, um, I've got a pretty decent finish on this. I
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to Dane this weekend, and he took me under his wing a little bit, and I went through some steps, and yes, this met the inside of my car uh, uh, 5 times, not 6 times. But when I was starting to make the chalice, I looked at the wood, and the wood just like it was like so pretty. I didn't want to turn the whole thing down to 3/8 of an inch spindle, or maybe even a ring. It just didn't look right. So I wanted to do something with it. I thought the wood
Cool.
was pretty.
So
Very
what
pretty.
So,
finish did you put on it?
this is 5 finishes of polyurethane.
Okay.
Um, it's out of the gallon can over there, and then I would rub it back, and then I would put some water on it first. After it dried, I put some water on it, and then I would rub it back, and then I wipe it off a little bit. Then I apply again, and then we go out into the car. But yeah, I usually I'm sure you guys heard me say a lot of times. I don't really spend a whole lot of time on the finishing, but I don't know. Maybe I've been wrong all this time. Huh? But I
Good.
kind of like that, and really, thanks a lot.
I
I
love
don't know.
redbud.
Looks great.
Yeah,
Looks
I
red.
love redbud.
looks
The,
good.
the biggest problem with redbud is it likes to crack.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. I have another half a log of maybe two halves over there, and they've been sitting there for maybe 3 years. So we'll see what happens with it. Last week I showed that fan, and somebody said, "Well, that's your prototype," and I giggled and I laughed. But yes, it's turning out to be a prototype. I tried 3 or 4 different things. I'm down to the last thing now. I had the shaft where the propeller was on 2.5 inches off of the bearing, so I figured that was causing more weight also for the rubber bands. So everything's getting modified again. So yes, it's prototype. It's not actually keeping me up, but I'm thinking about it a lot throughout the day. It's not it's not going to beat me. I'm going to try. Hey, the captain says you made it, and I think Matt said you made one. So I and I saw a video on Google, so it can't be wrong. So I'm going to continue until I get that right. But anyway, Dane, thanks a lot for the couple tips. I kind of
bet.
like that. I do. I kind of like it a lot. So I mean, that's basically it. It takes a lot more time to do that than just popping one out and then trying to start something different. But anyways, it's nice to see a lot of new people on tonight. Believe me, you'll have a lot of time once you say hi. I was out there in the wings for a long time also, and I enjoy this a whole lot more since I said hello and stuff like that. But I got
We're looking forward for when you start demonstrating, Al.
well, look, I've already been, in my mind. Now, listen, in my mind, yes, my dues are due. So, it's, I've already got a couple things, working out here. How to make a stand. I'm going to make a stand and maybe have some wires going across and have my phone slide so I could get maybe a tail shot and a top shot, overhead shot. So I mean, I've been talking about this to Dane. Hey, like I said, my dues are overdue. So it's not going to be like like Ray Ducka or Doug or any of you guys, but you know, I'm my dues are overdue. So yeah, I'm thinking about it. Of course, man. Thanks a lot, man.
Well, you're welcome. We all have something to share. I learned something from everybody, so I look
I
forward to it, Al.
every Wednesday right here. I love it.
Okay, cool.
Cool. You guys have a good night. Everybody be good.
Next up is I've got Joaquin has a mystery photo that he wants to ask about.
Okay, so thank you all who sent in submissions for the last newsletter. The front page of the next newsletter is already full, but during the weekend, I got a couple of images sent to me, and somebody sent me a text from their phone and explained that they just had turned some fogwood. So here's one of the photos. Let's see if I can get it to switch. This is one of the photos. Let's see. Here's another. The problem is they texted these images from their phone and they didn't tell me who they were. All I got was their phone number. So if these are your fogwood bowls, I'd really love to put one or two of these photos into the newsletter, but I need to know who you are. Other than that, if you're sending in imagery to the newsletter, just email it to editor@worldwidewoodturners.org and send it as an attachment. If you need to compress those into a zip file, absolutely, that works perfect. And that way you can send larger images and you can send multiple images. If you have any problems, let me know. When I do the posts, I try to post almost daily on the Facebook page, reminding people to send in photos. Let me know you sent them. I try to respond to everybody's email and let you know I received your images. And if I have questions, I'll ask them. Another was who was it? Same thing. Bob Foote had texted me an image, but he didn't tell me who he was, and I got his phone number. I emailed him back, and he responded, "Oh yeah, it's me." So that's all. That's all we need is when you say, "Hey, here's a bunch of fogwood I found, and I turned bowls out of it. By the way, this is so and so." Then I can put your name with your photos of your pieces. The whole point is to give you credit for your work. So again, email to editor@worldwidewoodturner.org. I can't pull images off the Facebook page and put them in a print layout. Facebook strips as much data as possible to make those images load as quickly as possible, mainly for mobile phones. And when I then take that image back off the Facebook page, it looks like a 16-bit graphic from 1987. It does not look good in print. So email is the best way to get large enough files that we can print them. And that's all I have for you guys tonight. If that's one of your fogwood bowls, email me. Let me know it's yours.
Whoever did it is
right on,
beautiful.
Joaquin.
Yeah, they're great. I want to put them in a newsletter, but I can't do it without your name. I'm not going to put some random wood turner sent this. We need to know who you
Yeah,
are.
right.
So if you see those
All right.
pictures, sing, and they're yours, sing out now, please.
Right? Or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, please email me. I'm not putting you in the newsletter if I can't identify you. It's not ethical.
Not fair.
To take
Not fair.
an uncredited photo. That's not ethical. I won't do it.
Probably not legal either.
All right. So with that, let's go over to Mr. Mark Soleil. He's going to show us how to do his toothpick construction for his finials. Mark, we got you now, buddy. Welcome. You're muted.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me
Now
now?
we got you. Yes, sir.
Okay, Casey. What I want to say first, I'm going to go over and get that sheet. Let's see. Okay. Okay, the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to do a sort of an overview on all this. Most of the traditional, can you see all this? Okay, most of the
Yes.
traditional ornaments have a ball or a ball-shaped thing and then a couple finials. Well, most of the time, you make a tenon and then you do a little overcap. That fits down in the overcap, touches the edge of the ball and it makes it look nice and the finial goes up from there. Everybody does that, right? But
Okay.
Yes.
but here's the problem. What happens if you have an irregular surface that you're trying to make an ornament out of? So what's going to happen? If you put this traditional finial on there, right, and you've got a part of this, if you have the finial up here, right, and an overcap, and a finial on there, you would have gaps, right, where the high and the low was, and it would be wonky. So years ago, what I did is I came up with toothpick technology. So if we have an uneven surface, we've got high and lows. If I take this and I drill a hole through the wood, either or a hollow form, then if I do this, if I make a 45-degree angle, on here I've got a high touch and a low touch, right? So I grind this to a 45 and then I do what? Instead of making a finial, we do a 45 and a 45. And now our finial, when we bring it straight down, will always have no gap at the high and no gap at the low. So you can make all kinds of surfaces, bark edges and all that, and put finials on, and they'll all come out perfectly with no gaps.
How do
Does
you
everybody?
how do you measure your 45 degrees on both ends, Mark?
Well, it's very simple. You take a business card out of your pocket, right? You take a business card, and it's 90 degrees. So, number one, I use a 90-degree countersink to do the wood. I can always take my finials and I can make them with a 45, just hold a card. And you see that right over there? Go straight over it. Okay. So if I make a card this way, I can make a 45, 45.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. So are you guys familiar with McMaster and Carr?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, they have both the 45, 90-degree countersinks, and they also have they also have 45-degree stones. So what we do if we have an irregular surface, I'm just gonna take this apart, okay? See this right here? Okay, so what I didn't glue this one. So what I do is I take, like this has got ridges and grooves and everything. So all we do is we just grind that. Now we've got 45, 45. And if we make our top finial, I can do one, but we end up by having a 45-degree angle on each side. And guess what? It sits right down and the highs and the lows, and there's no gap. Can you get in there and see that?
Yep.
Can you see that?
Yes,
Yep.
that's a
So
great
it-
idea.
So it makes, and then we put a toothpick in between, because we've got a hole in the bottom finial like this. We put a toothpick in between, and when they're jammed together, right? See, anybody can break a toothpick. It's real simple, but guess what? There's no man on earth that can pull a toothpick apart. So once you have, now you can do this not with just a toothpick, but I do it with dowels and everything on big pieces. Right? So that way, when you, instead of just having a pure ordinary round piece, you can start dealing with all kinds of bark structures, everything else, and really make some interesting pieces. So now that you see the big, I'm gonna just take you through the process because I'm not gonna take up a lot of time. Okay, I use a 1/4-inch drill. So I buy the countersinks, right? These are made for wood. They've got real sharp blades on them. And so what we do, we take a wooden block and we just, we just push it on. Boom, we make a 45. And guess what? Then we turn it around. We run it down the same hole. So now we've got perfect 45s right on either side. And then what we do is we mount this. Let me take this off. The reason I use 1/4 inch because everybody's got a pen handle. So guess what? You can use a regular bushing, or I just made a couple nylon ones here with a real narrow angle on them so that I can do a lot of different things on them. So we put this in here on the 45. Boom. See how that leaves a space around it? So now I can, make the shape that I want and completely finish it while it's on the mandrel. Right? Put that up and bangity bang. And get it screwed in. So we tighten that up, and then we can put that on there, put our tailstock up there. We can completely shape this and finish it just like a pen. Okay? Makes it real easy. You take it off here. I didn't put the other one on the side. But if you use a regular bushing, it'll jam up in there too. Where's the other? Here it is right here. So that just goes up there and I can completely finish that. I don't need to turn a thing. I'm just trying to save time. So now, if we make a hollow body, right? Let me put that up above. If we make a hollow body, we do what? We just make a 40, our 45 is right there, and our 45 is right here. If we have a solid body, right? And see that? We can take a solid body, do our 45 and 45. Now we've got our solid body, and it's all finished. Right? Then all we have to do is make our finial. Okay. Well, one thing, after you shape it, right, then we would put a finish on it. I usually just use Parfix because it's so fast and so quick. And if you don't have a buffing system, then just turn around and you can use EEE Ultra Shine, right? And that'll polish up any type of super glue. If you want to wax it, you can. Everybody get that?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And it's
Okay,
being recorded.
that's good.
Yep.
Okay, so now we're going to take this off. We're assuming we've finished this already. Okay. Now we've got to learn how to attach these finials. I'll just use a little piece. You can use any kind of wood you want for your finials. I'll just put in a little ebony here. Ebony. Okay, we tighten that down. Now we're going to get this out of the way. All right, we're going to pull up our tailstock. Now, do you want to put that thing in the, we're going to put this in a holder up above the.
Okay. Go for a ride now.
There
One
we
of
go.
one of many rides tonight.
Okay. And just let us know when it's in the, what you're seeing. Here, wait a minute. In case you take it out, let's slide it down to here. Okay. Wait a minute. You got it the wrong way. Okay, take it down.
We're froze up right now, Mark.
Okay, just a second. Gonna be.
Open her up.
Okay, now when you turn the camera on, you should be able to see.
Yep, we see you both now. Now flip it around, Casey.
All right.
There we go.
Now, if we leave it down here at the bottom,
Fingers in the way.
Oh, they're just setting up the camera, Matt.
Okay.
okay, now you can see it, right?
Yes, as long as your finger ain't there.
I'll keep it out.
So, Mark, we have a question, and
Yes.
I'm not sure. Let's see. So the question is, why are the jaws on the chuck taped off? So on your chuck, why do you have them taped off?
Because when I expand the chuck into items, that keeps the metal from scratching it.
Okay.
How's that? Real simple?
Yes, that explains it perfectly. Thank you.
Okay. So right now, what I always do is this. I bring the tailstock up and I make a dimple. See, I made that dimple because we're going to have to drill it for the toothpick. All right? And a standard toothpick is 5/64. Can you see the toothpick or the drill?
Yes.
Okay. And on small drills, I never use a Jacob's chuck because the tailstock and the headstock may or may not be actually lined up. When you push a drill into the center, it'll automatically center itself. So it's a very accurate way of doing things. Now we got to remember, we're going to make a tenon here. So we've got to drill in a pretty good way because when we cut it off to 45, this part will be in the chuck. Yeah, that should be pretty good. All right, so now we're going to take a parting tool. We're just going to make a little tenon. It doesn't. And that's not sharp. Give me just a second.
That would be African blackwood he's turning, folks.
No, this is Gaboon ebony.
Gabon ebony.
Okay. Yeah, I prefer Gaboon ebony. I can make much finer things with Gaboon ebony or dogwood or pear or apple. They're all very hard and you can get really fine detail with them. I got to turn this around. It's, me squinch down on this tenon.
Look at the sheen on that wood.
Oh, yeah. Gorgeous.
I'm gonna take some of the, shorten this up a little bit.
Damn, I gotta follow this. I swear.
Sucker.
We'll mitigate that with a little gallery or like a few gallery items, maybe.
There you go.
You asked
No.
for it, Dane.
No, we'll do safety after Mark, and then get on with the demo.
Okay.
Okay, now what I'm gonna do is to make it real easy. I'm gonna come back here. I'm gonna bring the point of my live center back up here. Can you still see it? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Okay, what I've done is I've made a little depression in there. That will center my drill for the eyelet. Because it's hard to put a drill on top of a ball shape. And just a minute, get that.
What time did you want to take your next break?
I was gonna go.
What?
Like 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're done here.
Yeah, whenever I'm done then.
Okay.
Can we get that mic muted?
One of the nurses
What?
said that the first time is gonna be
Oh.
gone soon too.
Okay. I will keep an eye on that. Did you get that washing done? I didn't even look when I came.
Yes, I did. I also
Okay.
did the safe room.
We're gonna come all the way around and make a bead. Oh, that's okay. Now I gotta go the other way. I'm gonna make a disc. I'll make another disc just for humor. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'll just make a long stem. Come the other way. I'm gonna reduce the size of this one just a little bit. Can you see that better?
Yes, sir.
Remember, when you make a comb, the tool always has to end up above the wood. See, if you don't end up above the wood, you get a corner. See that? I'm going above the wood. See that? You always do that. Now we'll start going the other way. All right, we've got this little transition there. Now we've got to do what? We've got to drill. I want to drill up here first before I get it thin down here. We'll turn that down. Where's that? Okay, and this The drill that I drilled the other side for the toothpick was a 5/64. This is a number 57 drill because I'm going to use a gold-plated 8mm by 4mm screw eye. They're gold-plated. They're $5 for 100 on Etsy, and that way you won't have any tarnishing effect whatsoever. Okay, can everybody still see what we're doing?
Yes,
I
sir.
don't. Oh, let me slow that down. So now I have, get my hand. Come on, get in. Let me see. Where I went in before I made that dimple with the tailstock, I didn't make it quite deep enough. There we go. Maybe that'll do it. There we go. There, when you have a dimple, then it'll go straight in. Pull it out. You can still see I still have shakes from the stroke. But you can do this on all kinds of Christmas ornaments. Okay, that's good enough. So right there, can everybody see right there? There's one little line. See that little line? So I'm going to take some 800 sandpaper in there. Now watch what I'm going to do. We never, ever, ever fold our sandpaper when we're going in between shapes. What we do is we use it like dental floss. See that? I stick that in. Just come around. There we go. That'll be good. If you fold it, then it'll always put a burn mark in there. Come this way. Come around that way.
Mark, can you explain why not fold it again?
Because it won't go down into the crack.
Right.
It'll always, it's too wide, so it'll put a burn mark.
It'll burn mark and then it'll sand off the nice profile that you made.
Yeah, you wind up with dull. You don't want to touch your edges with anything but a dental floss. Okay, now right there, you see that tiny line? I don't know if you can see it. There's a tiny line right there. So what I'll do is I'll go in there. Just, that's all we're going to do. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put our business card up above here, and we're going to make the shape of that a 90-degree angle. Okay, I'm going to just rough it up.
No.
And we just let the tool do the work. We hold the tool and we let it eat itself into the wood and we get a good sharp profile. Okay, let's look at the card. Now I'll see if that edge and the bottom edge, not quite 90 degrees, is it? Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
Right over the top. So I have to match the top edge and that bottom edge to run parallel to these two sides. Try to take it off a little farther. Okay, that looks like it's pretty good. Let's see what we got. That's looking good. Okay, now I need a parting tool. Oh, wait a minute, before we do that, let's go ahead and put, you can buff it, but all I do is I just take a little AAA ultra shine. Okay, there you go. All right. This makes it real simple. Just remember, you never want to put super glue on African blackwood or Gaboon ebony. Because they're oily type wood. And another thing, you never, ever, ever want to touch your fingers to a spinning piece of ebony because it's like a delicatessen bologna cutter. It'll slice you so fast, it's unbelievable. And the thing that we don't want to do is do a lot of sanding because then you absolutely destroy the sharp edges that you've created. Sandpaper rounds them off. I'm doing the best I can with my shaky hand.
No, you're doing fine. Marcus is excellent. Thank you.
I'm not going to do the bottom finial because I promise you I'd just take a little bit of time. I wouldn't take a lot. Yeah, you can. I love Gaboon ebony. It's just okay. Let me get a dry color in here. This is Casey Wilson on the camera, folks.
Yes, sir. Already gave him a shout out earlier.
Yeah,
Casey's the man.
he's gonna be doing a demo up at Woodcraft next month.
Awesome.
So he's getting into the big time.
All right. Well, we got to get him here on Worldwide. That's the big time.
There you go.
Right, Casey?
It is the big time. I agree with you.
That's
Okay.
a sharp finial you got there, Mark.
Well, if you just take your time, it's so much fun with that little. Okay, then we'll take and we'll put our gold screw eye in there. Okay, and that,
Very good. Enjoy.
and I'm gonna cut it off.
When you go for break, you should shut your door then.
I got her. Heather keeps unmuting herself.
Now, can everybody still see?
Yes, we got your back.
Oh, okay. Now, remember I told you, don't touch ebony? Right, so when I go to cut this off, right, I'm gonna come in here. I'm gonna, let me turn that speed down a little bit. Okay, let's come up above. Yeah, maybe we can move this camera over here. Can you see that in there, folks?
Yes, sir.
We could.
All right.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Okay, then we can take this over. Right to our, whatever one we're doing here. Then we do this one. You know, we put one on the top. Then we take a finial. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna switch out these two. I've already got the toothpick in this one. Yeah. And then we'll. Oh, shit. This dropped it. I don't know where I'm going. That one. I'm gonna go in this one. I don't have a toothpick long enough. Okay. Then the toothpicks just join. Before you glue it, you want to make sure that the toothpick, we're going to cut that one shorter. So that make sure that it fits tight before you put the glue in. And then you put them together. I don't even know which one's which.
That collection.
You've got your 45, 45 here. You got your 45, 45 here. And they fit. Any one of them will fit. Yeah. There you go. And you connect it to the bottom one. There you go. And then you have one. That's how to do any of your oddball, stuff like that. And then instead of doing just one that hangs on the tree, then what you can do is you can do little ones. That's my hand. I said, we'll put the white behind it. There you go. Now this one had a smooth body. So what I did
Yeah.
is it has a smooth body, so I put a regular finial on it with an overcap because my jaws will go down to 3/8. So I drilled a 3/8 hole through the whole piece of wood, right? And then you can hold it and cut it off and do all the finial and the stand and all that. So I can stand up, you know. Oh, let me get these shavings off. There you go. I got dust on them on knowing.
Ham, look at that.
That is beautiful, Mark.
Here's another little one.
So
Now
pretty. Oh my God, so pretty.
I did those two pieces. I split a bottle stopper blank in half, so I got two pieces out of it.
Beautiful.
It is. It's just beautiful.
Here's a piece of spectre ply as a hanger.
Look at that.
Any little scrap, but this is done toothpick technology. So when you do toothpick technology, the 45 come up, it comes up a little bit.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Here's another little piece of spectre ply. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a lot of fun.
Beautiful.
So
I think you're living
if
out of
you
your
have
mouth.
little,
What's that?
if you have little
No, this
strips,
is never mind. Go ahead, Mark.
okay, if you have little scraps, then you can always hollow them out. Right, but do your 45. Oop, that went down too. Right, and finish them, and you can have fun. And then another thing you can do, if you have something big, right, if you need a 45, just cut a piece of wood, make this 90-degree angle, and glue sandpaper on it to do the big, like Alfonso mushrooms and stuff like that.
Cool.
And then you can always practice on your 2x4s. These are for the kids to paint.
Outstanding, Mark.
If you make these little ones here, I'm just going to show you. The kids like to color ice cream cones, but you can make any shape you want. There's your discs. You can do discs on a 2x4, pretty nice. And then just little snowman and things like that. And I don't sand these things. I just let the kids paint them with the Crayola markers.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And if anybody has any further questions, give me a call. I can always do FaceTime. And thank you very, very much, Dane, for allowing me.
Oh, you're welcome, Mark. Anytime, sir.
Tommy
Thanks for the
Schultz
lesson, Mark.
talking.
Does anybody have any questions for Mark while we've got him live?
No, just to say thank you so much.
Yeah,
That
Mark.
was,
Yes, thank you, Mark.
yeah, really.
I have
Thank
one question for Mark.
Go ahead.
Yeah, lately I've been watching some of his demos from like I think it's the Gwinnett wood turners. They're from quite a few years ago. Is there a
Slicing.
compilation or something? Because that was a lot of really good information. It was your slicing techniques.
Yeah, he's got a 4-part series on that with Gwen Levitt.
Okay, I was just wondering if it was compiled anywhere or
No.
you just that their YouTube channel is the best place to find it.
Yeah, unless Mark or Casey can clarify on that. As far as I know, it's just a 4-part series with the group there in Georgia.
Okay.
That's a nice fire, Ray.
Oh,
Yep.
All right.
I'm loving it, man. The bugs are dead. It's nice. It's still t-shirt weather.
Outstanding. Outstanding. All right. Well, let's go to Sue to get our safety moment on. Hey, Sue.
Hey there. First of all, thank you, Mark. I could just watch you for hours.
Oh, I know, right?
I know it. So, anyways, guys, I was watching some YouTube the other day, and I was watching this one guy because I wanted to see what they have these titles on YouTube that want you to come in and watch their videos. So I did, and I cringed through it.
Yeah.
So I don't even know what he was turning. I don't even remember safety glasses, let alone a safety shield. And he was drilling into a piece of wood, and he was just, he had the Jacob's chuck for the tailstock, and he's drilling into this piece of wood with his tailstock, not even holding the chuck or making sure that it doesn't come out of the tailstock. And I'm thinking,
Oh no.
oh my gosh. So a lot of turners, they've either forgotten or they're not aware that I'm not saying push down on your chuck, but hold it steady so that it doesn't come out of your tailstock, and gently go into the piece of wood or acrylic, depending what you're cutting, and make sure you back up every so often, especially with acrylic. You don't want it to get so hot that your drill becomes one with the acrylic. That has happened to me. Don't ask me how I know. So anyways, yeah, I'm just saying, guys, you don't know how dangerous that can be. The drill bit or the Jacob's chuck could go flying out of your tailstock just by momentum, and you don't know where that's going to land. And so, yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody, it's the little things that we don't think about that we can get injured with. So remember,
Amen, Sue.
yeah. So thank you. So, folks, be safe this week. Be mindful of the little things and be healthy. And I love to see you next week. Take care.
Outstanding. Thank you, Sue. So
You're
a
welcome.
lot of that. So some of what you just said will coincide with the featured demo this evening. Let me go highlight the demonstrator. Let's see if we can get the right camera here.
Is that what you're looking for, Dane? Is that what you're looking for?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. So I'm going to demonstrate making a funnel tonight. And with that, I would like to call on Mr. Dave Kingsley to show what the normal funnels are. So we just add Dave in here. And so Dave is going to show us, the typical funnel that is made. that is not the type of funnel I am attempting to make tonight. Dave, thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. I had one. I turned it Monday night, and then I set it on my workbench, made a basic bowl, flipped it over and turned through the bottom of it, and I set it on the workbench, and from there I discarded it into my garbage, and then from there I emptied out my garbage bag because it was garbage. It was the day for the garbage truck to come through, and tossed it out, and then come back in. I'm sitting here for like 20 minutes later, and I'm looking for that bowl that I made as a funnel. And I'm like, doggone it, I threw it away. So what we're going to attempt to make tonight are funnels. And so this is a funnel that I use for filling my flask. Nice soft pad, but thick enough to where if you drop it, it's no big deal. And then so here's a larger style funnel that we'll be making tonight. And so I had a request to make one that would fit a mason jar. Granted, mason jars come in different sizes, but for the most part, it's going to be the same technique. So it's got a small tenon on the bottom side here. That's the inside diameter of the mason jar. And it's got a wall that's kind of concave that allows the funnel to sit inside the mason jar. And if you want to make it bigger, you just use a larger size piece of wood. This is a piece of mesquite. Got to be careful here because I don't want to drop that glass. It's my wife's milk jar. She'll be really upset. But this is a piece of, I know I just said mesquite, but this is a piece of mahogany. It's probably 50 years old. And I ebonized it with iron acetate. Right through there, you can see the shadowance of that grain. That would not take, either side would not take the iron acetate. So that was kind of cool. And it's the same way on the inside. It just kept its orange flame all the way through. So that was pretty cool. And then here's another, this is one I did as a test run today. This was the end grain. Did some backhauling. I was trying to decide whether or not I was going to do that for part of the demonstration tonight. As y'all know, I normally do not turn off the side of the bed weight. I slide my headstock all the way down and turn from the end. But what I'm going to do is when I turn the vessel tonight, I will be turning on the opposite side when I'm hollowing this out. So hopefully that'll be a good technique. Other than that, you're just making a cup. You're making a tenon that's going to fit into your vessel. And again, if you want it larger, for whatever your purpose is, you just start with a larger piece of wood, so you have a larger opening to use it as that funnel purpose. But the rest of it, it's going to be the same technique. So once again, so here's one that fits into the mason jars that we have here. So let's get on with it. So we're going to start with a block of wood. So I'm starting with a piece of mahogany, 4x4, essentially. Found my centers. I'm going to put that between centers. Slide the tailstock up. Get this thing pinned. And what we'll do first is we're going to make a sacrificial tenon here on the back side that will allow us to put it into the chuck so we can do the drilling operation. So we get that synced in. And so typical life center here on the side, standard life center. On this side, I've got a 3/4 inch step center inside my chuck. And so from here, all I'm going to do is make that sacrificial tenon. We want to make sure that none of the corners are going to hit. I'm not going to worry about turning the corners off until later, which I'm going to turn this between centers. There's a guy over in England. He has a motto. It says, if it needs a hole when it comes off the lathe, it should have a hole before it goes on the lathe. So we'll do the sacrificial tenon, chuck it up, we'll drill it. I'll be drilling it with a 1/2 inch drill bit, and we'll go from there. I need to grab my schmuck so I don't get wood shavings all over my nice Worldwide Woodturners t-shirt. Got the face shield. And we're going to use typical standard 1/2 inch bowl gouge. Regular M2 steel here we're going to use. How am I sounding coming through? Is my fan coming through? Is my audio being broken up? I swapped
Your audio is fine. We do not hear the fan.
Cannot hear the fan, so everything's good. It's not like what happened a month ago with the fan.
Yep,
Oh, it's
yep.
good, Dane.
Sounds great.
Okay, good. All right, so we're just going to come in here. We're just going to make a small tenon. Doesn't take much. You don't need a large tenon. To hold your vessel. And how I mark the perfect tenon size for my jaws is I literally just take a pencil, set it on top of my live center, and boom, right there, I've got the perfect size. And we'll just cut that. And I'm probably going to go about 3/16 of an inch here. Then I'm just going to come in and cut the dovetail. Use your skew, you could use your parting tool, but you can definitely use your bowl gouge. And so now we've got that. So I always blow off the dust before I move my headstock or tailstock, because if you move it while there's wood chips there, they are going to get underneath whatever apparatus it is that you're moving, and it's going to cause you to have some out of balance issues. All right, so from here, chuck up that piece of wood. Let's bring the live center up, make sure that we got full pressure on it and seated correctly. Chuck has 2 holes. Manufacturer put them there. Use them. All right, so we slide this back. Put the Jacob's chuck in, and we can kind of practice what Sue was talking about. We'll see how well I do on that. I guarantee I will fail. And so once again, so I'm going to use a 1/2 inch brad point bit. I'm going to drill all the way through, also making sure that I drill through the tenon. So I've already got a red line marked on my drill bit, so I know how far I need to go. Bring that up. Safety goggles onto this. And I always try to use a little bit of air while I'm drilling. So I've got instead of your trigger air nozzle, I'm going to use one that you can dial in and keep it directed with a nice steady stream of air going into to evacuate the wood chip and to help for your drill bit. We're going to turn drill about, I'm at 325. And we'll go in about a half inch, back it out. The air does a good job of evacuating those wood chips, as you can see here. You don't have to worry too much about holding on to your Jacob's chuck when you're going directly in. When you're coming back, when you're bringing the live center back. Most times when you have issues with your live center popping out, it's because your headstock and your tailstock aren't aligned. And so when you're backing out, you've got misalignment issues going on. And the drill bit or the Forstner bit is binding up.
Dane, your sound has just went wonky on us. I don't know if it's a microphone issue or the air or what, but all of a sudden we can't hear you.
What about now? Can you hear me?
Yep, that's much better.
Yeah, you were roboting really bad.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so what I was talking about was with your live center. If you have an issue to where you're fighting your live center to keep it inside your chuck when you're backing it out, you got an alignment issue, because what's happening is your drill bit is binding up in the piece that you're working with, that you're trying to drill. And when you're backing it up, it's binding, and that's what's causing it to try to twist out of your hand or out of the live center. I'll turn the air off. Almost. Now I'm going to slide the tail stuff forward so I can get some additional length here. So we only got a little bit more to get through. How's the sound now, Matt?
Sound is good, but it kind of is acting up when you're drilling. I don't think it's acting up. I think it's picking up part of the drilling and
got it.
Not others.
I think it's the air, actually.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. It's the air.
Could be.
I got the air off now, so.
Yeah, it mixes up with your voice, and the noise canceling is taking out part of your voice as well.
Right.
Right. All right, so let's see. Blow through the headstock here and see if anything comes back, and it should tell me that I'm all the way through. And that cleans out all the crap that's inside your chuck while you're drilling.
I didn't see anything come out, so I'm not sure if you're all the way through or not. But
oh yeah, I'm all the way through.
Okay. All right.
Yep. All right, so now we'll take the tailstock out. So I got bench dogs on my workbench, and so what I do is I just set my tools like this, that I'm using for something or using often, and I'll set them down inside the bench dog. now you got a sharp point that you can catch yourself on. And so what you need to do is put some type of cover over the top of them. And old prescription bottles are a perfect item to prevent you from catching your arm on something, making a major boo-boo on yourself. Okay, so now we've got the hole drilled all the way through. And need to blow the rest of the shavings of the duck. There's the back side where it drilled through. Take the chuck off. Set that aside. So what we're going to do now is turn this between centers. And this will make sure that as you're doing the vessel, everything is all perfect with the hole it's been drilled. And so on the headstock size, I'm using a 60-degree dead center. This is also what I would use for turning a pin. And so we'll remount it pin inside out towards the headstock. When you tighten that up, you don't need it super tight because you don't want to, once you start making the funnel end of it, and you're only going to have about 1/8 of an inch, if you got it too tight, then you're going to break that funnel end.
Hey, Dane, could you discuss a little bit about your choice of shape? Because like when I look at my funnel, my kitchen funnels, they're like conical or triangular with a 45-degree slope. So why have you chosen to do a cup instead?
No particular reason.
Okay.
That's when I make a funnel, that's the basic shape. I'm wanting to use the least amount of wood for the function that it's going to perform.
And it looks like it'll hold more. It looks like it'll hold more stuff too.
Yeah, definitely will. Definitely will. All right, so from here, there's a couple things we got to do. We have to one, we've got to be able to set, and again, this is specific for the mason jar. This is what I was asked to do. So not only do you need to make the tenon base so it fits in the jar, and I don't feel like swapping out to my larger jaws to bolt onto that tenon, but you also need to make a sacrificial tenon to be able to hold it once you turn it around to excavate the inside. So that's what we're going to do now is we're going to, one, shape the end here, and then we're going to set a tenon that will be able to rechuck, and then the final tenon that allows it to go into the vessel that you're making the funnel for. Is that clear on what to do? Take that as a yes.
Yes.
And so once again, we'll go back to the bow gouge, make sure everything's all tightened up. Up a little bit. So once again, when you're between centers like this, you should still be able to move your life center. Here, we'll go ahead and spin it up. Swap out and face shield back on. So we'll just, at this time, we'll take these corners off. get these corners knocked off, and then we'll start shaping the bottom of the funnel and set the tenons. As you can tell from the chippage that's coming off on here, this wood does not want to make nice, pretty shavings. When you're turning like this between centers, the lathe will let you know, the wood will let you know you're taking too big of a cut because it'll stall. The wood piece will stall. Tighten it up just a little bit there. You want to be careful when you're coming off either end that you allow the tool to cut, because otherwise it's going to chip on you. You should get us round here. See how much. That's a flat spot, flat spot. A little bit more to go. And kind of like Capnetti says, how slow can you cut? I got limited real estate here, so I don't want to take it down too much. Just a little bit of a flat. Remember, when you're turning, this hand here is only there to hold the tool onto the tool rest. All that cutting pressure is coming from your right hand, from your hip. It is not, you don't move the tool with this hand here. Otherwise, you're going to create all kinds of ridges and bumps in your turning. So the way I'm turning right now, I'm going super slow, and at the same time, I'm burnishing the wood just to illustrate. Allowing the tool to do its own cuttings. So we're round now. So from here, I gotta blow my mask off because I got a bunch of dust in it. All right, so now we can, now that we're round on the outside surface here, now we can go into making a little funnel nip, and then setting our sacrificial tenon that we're going to hold the vessel with, and the primary tenon that's going to go down inside the vessel that you want the funnel to go into. Again, it's just a basic cup. You know, only thing is you actually drill a hole through it, and you got a resting spot for it. So it's not super difficult. Or at least it shouldn't be. But we'll see if I can't make it difficult. So we'll take a little bit of this wood off here. Get ourselves a little nipple at the end, about an inch. So I'm at about a 3/4 of an inch here. And I know that I'm going to have a sacrificial tenon that will become part of that nipple. So I'm pretty good with where I'm at right here. And I know on the inside of my chuck, I need to be about 7/8 of an inch for that nipple to pass through, while at the same time being able to attach to the tenon, the sacrificial tenon we're going to turn. And instead of using the eyeballs, let's go ahead and use the calipers and see where we're at. 15/16. We just take a little bit more off of there. So with that, I'm going to use a 3/8 40-degree grind. Yeah, let's do that. And that should be good. Yep, 13/16. So close enough. So now we got to do our tenon. How are we going to mark our tenon? Well, we can't do it with this method because I need to have a tenon at a minimum of 2¼ inches to allow for that nipple to fit through the inside of my chuck. So you're going to have to calculate, or take a look at your chuck, based upon its size, so you can actually get still get a proper tenon for proper holding purposes in your chuck, to determine what that thickness is going to be. But for basic, for the majority of the standard jaws, if you're at 3/4 to 7/8 of an inch, you'll be perfectly fine. And all you got to do is set a 2¼ inch tenon. That makes sense? Sound good?
Yes.
Yep. Tough crowd. And so I got it set at 2¼ and all I'm going to do is visually line up where these two would hit on the back of the vessel here. And I'm only going to be touching the left-hand side. If you touch the right-hand side, you're going to create a little dagger. It's going to come at you. So you can see the lines that are being created. And once those lines match up, you know that's the tenon size you got to turn to. So we're going to turn to this line that we just marked out here from the calipers. Grab the toothbrush and knock out the muck that marred up on the inside of the bevel. I haven't turned much mahogany, but it seems like every time I turn it, it always gathers inside the flute. I don't know if that's a normal thing for mahogany or not. If anybody has any say on that, I'd like to hear it. Yeah, reposition the tool rest and banjo. So once again, we're just going to turn a real small tenon, 3/16 of an inch to a quarter. We do not want to go past that 1/4 inch line. Then I'm going to take my 1/4 degree 3/8, clean that tenon up. And so next, I need to go inside this mason jar, the tenon that's required for it. It's 2 15/16 of an inch. So if you're turning something for a specific vessel, make sure you measure the inside of that vessel. And then that's what that final tenon is going to be. So it'll rest in there and you ain't got to worry about it wobbling when you're filling it up with juice or whatever you may be filling it with. So and so we'll take our calipers and we'll set that to 2 15/16. And we'll do the same thing. Try to line those points up as it's spinning. Left hand side, we'll do the marking. And we got it on the first try that time. And of course, turn everything off before you move your tool rest. Right, Sue?
That's absolutely right.
So now we're going to set that tenon. It's going to go inside the vessel. And so anywhere from 5/16 to 3/8 will be just perfectly fine. And it does not have to be a dovetail tenon. Just do it straight in. And again, you can do it with your skewer, your badon, your beading parting tool. I just wanted to, instead of using one of those tonight, I wanted to show that you can make a proper tenon with your bowl gouge. I'll tell you what, as far as mahogany goes, I'll tell you right now, I do not like turning. but it sure leaves a nice clean surface when you're turning it. So there's nothing wrong with it. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to shape it, make it, basic little cup vessel on the outside. Shouldn't be a big deal on how to do that. It's just like doing a bowl. You want to try and follow your golden mean ratio and try to have a nice curve coming from the top to the bottom. You don't want to turn the whole wall away, but you want to try and connect that whole curve from the top to the bottom here. So that makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah. And so we're doing side grain here. And so you'll notice, see how crappy those chips are coming off? So reason why they're coming off like that with the tool being presented at that rate is because you're going against the grain. Now, if you went up high, you would be able to get a good cut. What you want to do is come from the bottom, and now you've got a supported cut. Start doing this curve all the way around. You slow up on your exit cut, let the tool do its cutting. Otherwise, you will split it out. Take one more small cut here on the bottom. So now here's the beauty of turning between centers. At least to me. This wood's got built-in static electricity, I tell you. Mercy my. So if I'm turning right here, so now I'm trying to get up to the top, and trying to get a nice complete tool rotation to the front, but I can't do it because I'm up against the headstock. And so the beauty of turning between centers is you just back up your live center and you flip it around.
That's almost cheating.
It is almost like it's a cheat code.
I like
Again, remember.
I like turning mahogany, but I was getting my mahogany that was maybe seasoned 30 years. It was old handrails out of buildings, and it was I exposed the exterior, and it had lost a lot of the oils. It didn't clean the tools, but it tooled very nicely. But newer mahogany I got, the oils clung to the tools, and it didn't. It was hard to dress out. You had to keep the tools. My tools had to stay really clean, which meant cleaning the tools often to keep the stuff from clogging on them.
Yes, it's pretty bad. In fact, this thing's already cracked just from taking it off. A crack appeared. And I'm 1/8 of an inch thick here. So all I'm going to do, just so I can get by, it's no problem here. We're just going to apply a little bit of Parfix 3408 in there. It's going to wick down in there. This wood is, God, it is so dry.
It's Brenda's magic formula.
Yes, sir. You go ahead and hit it here with some Celarant. And you put her back on. So once again, this is where the light touch comes in. So you can see this. It's barely holding. So what do you got to do from here? You got to let the tool cut. It's imperative. That wing still feels pretty sharp. Let's see what we can do with that. And then so the other trick you can do to identify, if you can't see them, maybe your eyes are failing. I know for me, I'm losing part of my nearsightedness. But if you take some chalkboard chalk, just regular school chalk, and you highlight color, go like that over your vessel, and it'll identify the humps that you have. So I've got one right here in the center. Of course, you can't see it now because it's whited out. And I got one right there. And so we're going to do a eye shearing cut and see if we can't get rid of it. We're going to start from the back and go to the front. A lot of times when you watch YouTube videos, people will be turning their vessel, whether it's side grain or end grain, they'll be following the correct grain direction. But then when it comes time to do a shear scrape, they'll go the opposite. They'll go against the grain, and they'll just keep going, and the next thing you know, they break out to, the 60 and 80 grit sandpaper to get everything sanded flush.
Hey,
So,
Dane,
yeah.
you couldn't re-chuck that on that lip you made to fit that jar?
I'm sorry, say again?
You could re-chuck that on that lip that you made to fit that jar?
Yes, if you had larger jaws, you could. And then so I do, so my, this particular chuck is a Vicmar VM120. So it is large enough to chuck that tenon, but you're going to have the telltale signs of where you chucked it because it dug in, because it's only holding that piece on those 8 points of contact.
Yeah, I'm just thinking
Granted,
about the crack you got in that one there.
Oh, no, this will be fine. We'll get through this. It's no issue. But yeah, I mean, you can overexpand your chuck, but the thing of it is you're only holding it in eight spots. And depending upon your turning, you could get a catch and that thing will blow out easily. And so anytime you chuck a piece and you got 8 little corner dots in your tenon was entirely too big.
Hey, Dane?
Yes, sir.
Didn't you make a temporary chuck? Temporary hold for the chuck?
I made a temporary tenon that's going to fit properly. That's going to fit properly into the chuck. That's what I did earlier.
So why wouldn't you be using it now?
I am going to use it. The question was, could you use the main tenon and chuck on in?
Okay.
So I was just explaining that. That's why I made one doing it incorrectly with an oversized tenon to illustrate that it's only being held by 8 points of contact. And if you was to get a catch, that thing's going to come flying out of your, this is small. It's 9 times out of 10, it ain't going to come out. But if you got a larger vessel with a oversized tenon and it's only being held by 8 points of contact, that piece is going to fly out. And that's part of the reason why it flew out. 1, wrong tool presentation. 2, wrong presentation to the grain of the wood, the cutting parameters. 3, the recess and or the tenon was oversized. And if I missed anything, somebody fill me in or fill us in. Okay, so now we're going to go through here and we're going to turn off this high spot I got. I got 2 high spots. And so I'm starting with my gouge. And I'm going to be cutting with the bottom wing. And I'm going to be cutting about 10 o'clock on the vessel as it's turning here. And we're just going to take super fine cuts. And you'll see everything go away as the white goes away. That's like a baby's butt. And so this is just, I mean, it's just, you touch the shavings and they just go to dust. And so now we're good on the outside. Now we can chuck on the sacrificial chuck, or on the, put the sacrificial chuck in the chuck, and then we can excavate the inside. And the crack held up because I barely had tension going on between the two. 1 and 3 or 2, letting the tool do the cutting going across the top of the vessel. Just pop this out. Doesn't take much to pop it out. Don't wail on it, otherwise, whatever your dead center or your 4-point is going to go flying out of your hand. It's going to hit the ground. You don't want that. Go ahead and take your live center out. That way you don't have that elbow pointing spinning device stab you later on. Let's get the chuck on. Now we will rechuck the sacrificial tenon. And the chuck's got two tightening holes. Make sure you use them. Manufacturer put them there for a reason. They know better than the rest of us. And so now we just excavate the inside, which is atypical of any bowl or cup. So I'll do the majority of it here, turning like standardly. And then we'll try to turn off the backside and see how things go that way. Camera angle still be okay. So we're going to come in and face this off and make sure everything's nice and tight. So we're doing side grain. So you're going to go from the outside walls to the center. That's your supported cut. If you're doing end grain, you would be going from the center out. Now we'll just turn to the center here a little bit. Once again, this is awkward turning like this. Slide the tailstock down a little bit. We're coming in at the end here of your wall. You want to have your flute closed when you're engaging that cut. You have it open, you're going to get a catch. And after you engage the cut, that's when you open it up to about 1 o'clock, and then you ride your bevel and push on through to the center. And I am taking a heavy cut. About halfway down. Now I'm getting a little bit of bounce on my tool. But that's okay. We're going to fix that here. Slide the tool rest in a little bit. Get close to the end. Now we're going to change the rotation. We're going to have it go in the opposite direction, and we're going to turn off this side. Now, would it be better? Because I can do this. I can change the camera setup. I can move my camera down onto my tripod where you can see better doing this. Is that something that y'all would prefer, or
Your
rather than
camera's
me just-
fine, Dane.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Right on. So we're going backwards, but it's the same turning principle. Still got to ride your bevel. You still got to follow the principles of the grain. This way, you can see what you're doing. My life center is still in my way. And I don't like that I don't have my tool on my hip.
So Vice President Kamala Harris is going to be here tonight. So you're going to be watching, right? Yeah.
And so this goes without saying for any vessel that you're doing. You want to turn your outside wall dimension to the final dimension and be done with it. You don't come back and touch it again after you've excavated the mass on the inside, because what's going to happen is once that mass has gone on the inside, you're going to have flex on the outside of the vessel. Might be 1/32 of an inch on one side, but it's going to be spinning oblong. And if you try to come back up here, that's what's going to make you create those ungodly tool marks that you sand forever trying to get out. So you want to get your wall dimensions set while you still have the majority of the mass in the center of the vessel that you're doing. And so I have a nice little tool mark here. And so what I'm going to do is use a box scraper. I'm going to come in and
Those
clean that up.
vibrations are best case scenario, Dane.
Say again?
Those vibrations are best case scenario.
Yeah, true that.
Worse, it blows up on you. Don't ask me how.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's going to catch and blow up on you. Thanks for pointing that out, Billy. So we want to make sure we're going in the right direction here. I'm just going to come right straight down, and I'm looking at the wall on the opposite side that I'm cutting. See what I'm doing. Because if you look at where you're cutting, you're not going to be able to see it because of all the shavings that are there. So I'm going to change my direction, and I'm going to pick up that ridge that I left from the box scraper. And you just follow that wall down. And so you guys have heard me talk about it in the past. If you got a rheometer on your lathe, instead of hitting that hard stop, make your lathe come to a quick sudden stop, then having to worry about your chuck spinning off because you don't have no grub screws in there. You use that little dial and you turn the speed down. And you allow the internal brake of your system, or just the speed control to slow things down. You don't need that grub screw in there when you're turning in reverse. And if your chuck is coming off when you're spinning in reverse because you're sanding, there's something drastically wrong with your lathe. Okay, so we're about right here. I'm going to slide my tailstock or my banjo right up to the edge here, just barely where it's not touching. See if I can't spin this thing the rest of the way through. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a sharpened gouge. We're almost through. It's funny, I've heard no questions about what speed you're turning at.
What speed you turning at?
Fast.
Okay, let me know when that matters.
Y'all know me.
Is that Jimmy Clues fast?
No, not as
No,
fast.
no.
I'm at 2,400.
No,
Yeah,
Brendan.
Jimmy would be at 3,600.
Of course, you can see the decent looking shavings coming off of there. The inside here. Almost
Yep,
through
good cuts,
here.
Dane. Good cuts.
Yep, thank you. It's hard to see what I'm doing. One, I don't have a light on. Does that affect y'all?
It does sometimes. Usually you can do it by feel, but if you've got to follow a contour, I prefer to be able to see it. Cindy
Well,
Drozda's got a really, Cindy Drozda's got a really great one that's got a magnet that goes on my tool rest.
Yeah, so I don't have a light on right now. So if I do turn the light on, how does that look? Does that affect you?
No,
No, it
it's
looks
fine.
just the same.
it's fine.
Okay, great. Because
I've got one of those drones. I've got one of those
Now I can
drones
see.
lights too, and I love it.
Woodturner's Wonders also makes one.
So I'm just following that contour and raising my elbow to move past my live center. And I'm coming in on the cut at about 2 o'clock and then taking it down to the center. Where that hole is that you drilled. Got to be mindful. You don't want to go too deep because you also want to have a little bit of mass at the bottom, so you got that weight. You ain't got to worry about it tipping over when you're pouring stuff into it. So I just need to take a little bit more off here. So normally I would grab my box tool rest, put on. So got your standard post. I use collars for the primary tools that I use. It automatically stops at that height that I need it to be at. But this is what I would normally put on to go inside. So I've got a fully supported gouge. I don't like turning anything greater than inch and a half off of the tool rest. But not everybody has, a box tool rest. So I'm just wanting to show that it can be done. It's just a matter of tool presentation, taking light cuts, and listening to the wood as you're going in. So, all right, so let's go ahead and one or two more cuts down the wall here, and we'll have it. And when I mean cuts down the wall, all I'm doing is lighting my bevel, then I'm engaging the cut where the wood needs to be excavated at. So did y'all see that? See what happened? So based on my grind, which is somewhere around between 50 and 55 degrees, by the time I got down to the center, my tool is up against the wall. So I can't turn anymore properly. Like you can hold it out, and then you're just floating the bevel and cutting on the tip. But that's what happened here. I bottomed out. I couldn't by rights. I couldn't go any further, so I stopped. Has anybody ever experienced that before? Probably not.
Yep.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah, it's called running out of tool.
That's right. That's all about
Technical term.
that's all about your beveling. You know, it's you know, as an example, the 40-degree grind, man, it's perfect on the outside, but man, you can only get halfway inside a vessel because you run out of real estate. You can't flip that tool around. And so what I'm going to do now is take and use a scraper. And I was asked before on my last demo what grind bevel that I had on my round nose scraper. And so I measured it this morning, and it's 61 degrees. So now we're going to go in here, and we got an 1/8 of an inch, about 1 1/4 inches in the center that we need to remove, and the vessel is done. And so we want to make sure that we're going in the right direction. I need to raise my tool rest. Why do we need to raise the tool rest? Anyone know? We're using a scraper.
To be above center.
Because your cut
Yeah, to
needs
give you
to
your
be
negative
above the
rate.
center. Because that's the only way correct.
Be careful, you start talking common sense. These specialty tools will go out of wire.
Yes. Right. Once again, I'm looking.
Ball end mill, guys. Ball end mill.
There you go.
Finally got mine in. Now I need to find a 3/4 inch bar to stick it in.
So as I'm turning, once again, I am just watching the opposite wall here because I can't see on this side, but I can see on that side. So when you're turning, you got to go with the feel of the tool, but you need to be watching your cut as it's happening, whether it's on the inside or the outside. All right. So we're done. It's that end of it. Yeehaw. Blow some shavings off. So if you wanted to sand, go ahead and sand. Get a good get a good finish off the tool. And, you know, it's a funnel. If you're going to sell them, you know, by all means, go ahead and finish sanding it. All right, so, one other thing that I wanted to show. You guys hear me talk about iron acetate all the time. Let me put this back in here. And so mahogany really reacts to it really, really well. And so for my iron acetate solution, I take a file, I take a piece of mild steel stock, put it in the vise, and I take the file and I file off some shavings. And so this is a 6-ounce bottle. So I fill it up, you know, a little over halfway. So that gives me about 4 ounces. And I put in about a half a teaspoon of those metal shavings with cleaning vinegar, not vinegar from the house or apple cider or any of those tricks. Go to the store, the cleaning department, and get the cleaning vinegar. It's got a higher acid rate in it. It's about 35 or 65% stronger. I can't remember what that ratio is, but it's way stronger. You put those mild steel shavings in there, and that stuff will be ready to use within 3 hours. And all I
Why
do,
don't you use steel wool?
because it doesn't work as good, and you got to clean it. It's not 100% steel. So here you go.
That may be why mine didn't work so well.
Yep. Yeah, you've got to soak it in acid. You know, a couple different, at least 2 acetone baths just to get the oil out of it.
Yeah,
But
I didn't think about that. I didn't clean it.
But it's not 100% steel either. Carbon, you know, with a high carbon content. So you can see how that's just turning black. And again, that's all this was. Coated it with wiped it on while it was running, and let it dry. It was, you know, it looked like that in 5 minutes. Okay, so now how do we get rid of that tenon on the bottom? We don't have a checking point here on the front. Oh no, what do? There's a couple different things you can do. You could put it on the front of your chuck. Let's see. Well, yep, it grabs. Or for other items,
Jam chuck.
yeah, you could do a jam chuck. But you can use this thingamajig, whatever in the hell it's called. Help me out, Billy. Screw chuck.
Woodworm screw.
Worm screw. There we go. Put your worm screw.
Woodworm screw.
Yep. Make yourself a piece of solid ply disc. Put yourself some padding on. It's got some silicone ESD. Came from mats that go on an e-wax. So I've got that adhered to the back of a solid piece of 1/4-inch plywood, and screw that puppy on. And so, as long as the vessel is less than 7 inches in diameter, and the top of your vessel is flat, you put that on. Got your chucking point, and you got a full-time automatic, always prevalent jam chuck. We're going to put our live center back in because we've got the hole here. That's our chucking point. Slide that up. Careful not to catch your finger. Pinch it. And as you're ever so slightly tightening that up, twist the vessel to make sure it's on there straight. And you give it a whirl. Look at that, it's dead perfect. And so now all we got to do is turn that sacrificial tenon down into the
Dane?
Yeah.
Yeah. when you put your cone center on, what I do is I turn a piece of dowel and I leave a shoulder on it, and I stick the dowel up into the cone, and then I take my live center and come into the back of the piece of wood that's left over that's bigger. If you know
Yep,
what I'm saying.
yeah, that's a good technique also, but it also depends upon how well that dowel is not going to coincide with the axial dimension that was turned initially on the vessel itself.
Yeah, that's why I turn my dowel so it's a nice fit, and it goes up in there.
Right.
Yeah.
So now thanks, Dan. So now what we're going to do is turn that tendon off here. See if we can keep that nipple from breaking. I'm about 2,500. We're just going to take light cuts. Got the tool handle down by the hip. Seems to want to cut better going towards the headstock. Imagine that. I'm just going to pull in that right in. Hopefully not blow through the bottom of the funnel. Wouldn't that be crazy? Making a funnel and you make a funnel.
If it holds together, it all works.
Like a double purpose project.
Right? Man, that wood just jams up inside your flutes. Yeah. But hey, that's what toothbrushes are for.
Look at it this way, Dan. You could have an addition for the recovery.
Yeah, right. Yeah, okay, yeah. So take a magnet, glue on the back of a toothbrush, and you've always got a little mini brush available for you. Do the same thing with your pencil. Put a little magnet on it, and you always got it.
Tom Hatch is going to want rights on that. Tim
You
Hatch.
can have them.
Okay.
All right. I just got a little bit here to turn off. I'm going to grab my 40. I'm tempting fate. Because I feel thin right there. I can hear it singing. See? Tempting fate. All right, let's see where we're at. Alrighty. What do y'all think? Think it'll fit the first time, or think we have to put it back on here to turn that tendon down? There we go.
Dan, what
Now you got to.
that you put on your plywood?
So it's it's a silicone mat. So this is something that was manufactured for the Defense Department, but it was something that failed quality and stuff like that. I took home.
Got it.
But yeah, it's just a solid silicone mat. I got a 19 and 15/16 disc as well that I use for larger vessels. The same thing, but this way, that silicone, it grabs onto it.
Yeah.
Your vessel, and So again, this is, just another way to true up a bottom or remove a tenon or,
It's a great idea.
do
Sue,
whatever.
Sue, I got a yoga mat from Walmart and cut mine up. So when you go look for a yoga mat, you just look for something that's got a really good, consistent, flat surface, and that'll work.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I was thinking of using I got a roll of the mat you put in toolboxes. I was thinking of cutting that up.
That will work too. Router pads.
Yeah.
As long as it's a thin router pad. But yeah, anything like drawer liners, silicone drawer liners. You can, if you had access to sheets of cork, glue the cork onto a solid base, but again, it's got to be a solid base. It's not going to move, not 5-ply construction grade plywood, birch plywood. MDF even works well.
Okay.
But not the 3-ply typical plywood. So, any questions?
No, I kind of liked it.
Just
Nice
Oh,
job.
cool.
Very good.
Hey,
So,
great
Good
video,
job.
Dan.
Good job, Dane.
Do you ever
thank you, Billy.
on them?
What?
Do you ever put a finish on them or not?
On the outside, every now and then I will, but the inside I'll just leave as is. Turn it with solid hardwood, and you're good. It's gonna gather. For us, we use funnels for outside of my booze funnels. We need it for our orange juice and our grapefruit juice that we crush every year, from our fruit trees. So
Okay.
they come in handy for that. I've got smaller ones that go into half-gallon Tropicana glass jars, or Strauss milk half-gallon jars, which is a 32 millimeter tenon that goes down inside, the glass jars for it. But yep, that's how you make a funnel that's actually purposeful.
Great. Nice memo, Dane. Nice memo.
Yep, very
Thank
great
you all.
job.
Great demo. Great demo.
Why didn't you go through the bottom of it?
Huh?
I'm goofing with you.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. I hear you. Right. Like I said, I was pimping fade here, but yeah, not too bad.
If you make the hole bigger, the stuff you're trying to put into the mason jar with it goes in faster.
Well, that's true, but we also put screens in there to further catch the pulp from the citrus.
Ah.
So fill it up and it allows it time to go through. It's just a process. I got a big press, cast iron. You squeeze half at a time. So it's a weekend project. When Tina and me are doing the fruit juice. So, but it's definitely worth it. So, all right, cool. No questions.
I don't
Swing
see
back.
none.
Hey, Dave, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
When you're bringing in cutting the cup, now I've predominantly used carbides, but I've recently been switching over to more traditionals. Your presentation going in, where you say you're hitting on the right as you were going in. So when you're
Yes.
cutting in, you're actually, are you turning as you're going in, or are you using the same degree the whole way through?
No, I'm using the same degree the whole way in.
Okay.
And so part of the problem reason why I caught at the bottom.
We can't see you.
Yeah, I know.
Let's switch.
Hold on, I'm gonna switch.
Yep, I got you.
Thank you. So part of the problem is the shape, so it's got a curve to it. So when I was trying to get into the bottom, that's when I was hitting the wall. And that would make no difference if you were turning on, you know, the traditional side going in as opposed to turning on the opposite wall like I was showing how to do it. You would still hit that wall. But you're using carbide. And so are you using the round
Yes.
cutter? So what I would recommend, do you have reverse on your lathe?
Yes.
So I think part of the problem is you're not able to see what the cutter is doing, and that's what's hanging you up on it. So try doing it on the opposite side. You're coming in with your carbide, round carbide. And you're going to be at a slight angle to it.
Yep.
Something like that.
Right.
So you're going to be
Trying, Al, you'll
presenting
get
it.
there.
You'll be presenting it somewhere around 2 o'clock, 1:30 as you're coming down that wall to your center. And when using these carbides, I'm not a carbide professional, but I do hollow with them for actual hollow forms. You need to be above center, and you need to be cutting on the bias. Otherwise, you're just going in, you're stabbing, and you're scraping.
Okay.
If that makes sense. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Well, I'll tell
All
you
right.
what.
Well,
That was pretty cool.
if that's all we have here regarding the demo, then let's.
Hey, Dan,
Let's see. We got about. Yeah, go ahead.
what's going to prevent that chuck from coming off when you're turning in reverse if you get a catch or try hogging too much wood?
You know my answer to that, right? Proper tool presentation.
Yeah,
Listening, proper feed rate.
What about somebody that just accidentally does it? What's going to prevent that from coming off?
I don't think a new turner is going to be taught how to turn on the opposite side until they know how to turn on the correct side. Right?
That's true. I agree with that. But
and it's going to take a lot. I mean, you're really going to have to dig in there to unseat that chuck. You know,
that's true.
You know, I'm sure it happens, and in fact, I know it happens because we hear about it here within the group. You know, about their chucks coming off when they're sanding, and so I'll go back to what I was saying. There's something wrong with your chuck setup if your chuck is coming off when you're in reverse.
Well,
go ahead, Tim.
Set screw that needs to be set.
All right, so
I don't use a grub. So what I demonstrated tonight was showing that the grub screw is not used. And you can turn in reverse, and your chuck is not going to come off.
What I was going to say was if you hit the stop button when that lathe is turning at that speed, it is going to come off. That's why you have to use that dial like Dane was showing you in the demo.
Correct.
Turn your speed down, get down to 0, and then it'll stop on its own. That chuck will sit there. But
Not only that, thank you, Tim. Not only that, if you use your speed control to turn your lathe on and off, per se, that's going to save those little jumpers from breaking from your constantly going on, off, on, off. Turn it on in the morning. As long as you're outside and you're working with the lathe, leave it on. You got the dial turned down. When you leave, that's when you turn it off. And it's going to save those cheap jumpers in there that break all the time on these paddle switches. So like right now, I'll go ahead and turn it off.
I always thought that red button was just for an emergency. I've always used the speed dial to turn it on and off. And just the red dial is just an emergency.
Amen, Gary. That's how it should be treated. Yep. Good
Dane, if I could
Yes,
word
ma'am.
for new turners or novices, if you've never
Yes.
turned in reverse and you have a chuck that says that it's reversible, it has a set screw. And they should use the set screw their first time or so. I wouldn't.
As a novice turner that is not used, that has not master's the wrong word, that has not figured out the sound of wood that it makes when it's cutting, hasn't figured out the slicing good cutting protocol of turning in the traditional direction, they should never be turning in the opposite direction because it is a totally different presentation.
Well,
It's like taking the training wheels off a bike.
Right.
You
Well,
don't
Thank
take
you,
them
Eddie.
off until you know what you're doing.
Right. So Eddie, what do you think about things tonight so far?
So far, I'm enjoying it. Really am. We've covered a lot of ground tonight, and we got some more ground to cover. Folks, you got to be with us right now. But don't forget, we have Level Up coming. Level Up is Worldwide Wood Turners Opportunity Program Extravaganza. Hullabaloo? No, we can't call it that. But we're going to get together in Wisconsin. We're going to have a great time. This group, this gang, this bunch of people are going to get together and we're going to share our ideas, our thoughts, and all. And I was just looking at some of the notes from the grade 8. The grade 8 are the people that are putting this together. They're not paid. They're volunteers of this organization, and they're putting this whole package together. And I was looking at the amount of the list of equipment that they've assembled and getting together and planning on and getting there. This is a major undertaking. And this is being taken on by people who want to do just what we do every Wednesday night, share information. So if you want to be part of it, Level Up at worldwidewoodturners.org is our mailing address. While we're talking about that, earlier this evening, JJ was saying he got some photographs in for our website, and they didn't have a name on them. We still take things in for our newsletter, and we love it. Today's edition came out. Oh, it's fantastic. It is. And we do one every other week. JJ works every other week to put this package together. And there's nobody else in the world doing something like this. I mean, nobody. And it's beautiful work. And we want to get your photographs. If you've got photographs, send me the photographs. Send the information. Wait, I said send me, not me. You got to send them to JJ. And that editor at worldwidewoodturners.org. Don't send it anywhere else. No, editor at worldwidewoodturners.org. And we say that because we need the higher resolution artwork that comes out of your camera, out of your computer. We can't take it off Facebook. It's been dribbled down, because they gotta splash it all over the place. We don't want to splash it. We want to make it a great presentation piece. And then we want articles that you can write to explain things. Tonight, Matt said something about, hey, I like to make those scoops all in one piece. We have a demo on that. But wouldn't it be nice if we could get a article explaining the demo on that to go in the newsletter? Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, and we could use the Duxbury jig. You see, I'm throwing all these people in one pile, huh, Matt? All of y'all. Because see, this is what we need to do. We had a question coming from an experienced woodturner asking a question about a simple project, which led me to think that's where we belong, right there. That's a simple project that might not be so simple, and it's something we really should consider. And as I'm looking at it, and Ruby did it, so okay, Al, control yourself, Al, because if Ruby knew it, you can do it, Al. It's all right. But if we got to play around in the shop, and I got my PVC pipe parts out and my vacuum chuck, and started doing it. Do you know how much fun I could have with a multi-axis? Yeah, just think.
Yeah, I do, Eddie.
You see what I'm talking about? Okay, but aren't there rules? No, there's not rules. And Al said, "How do you know about the quantity?" My daddy always said, "If you got to measure it, you shouldn't be cooking." Uh, those scoops are just made to keep your hands clean. You know, do you actually level it off before you scoop it in? No, you don't. Yeah, that's about right. Hey, I'm a dago. We just splash it until it looks good. I've made chili I can't eat. You know, um, yeah, and I've had food cooked me that for me that I can't eat. So, but these are all little secrets we want to share. So say, what if I make a 2-inch circle and it's a half-inch deep and all that? Yeah, we can do the math. I'm pretty good at that. I can work that out right now. But does it matter? Is somebody going to say, "Well, this is wrong. It's supposed to be a 1 1/4 cut in it." It's don't put any numbers on them. Just say they're nice scoops, large, medium, small. 1 coffee cup, 3 cup of coffee. Such like that. And you keep your work into art, not projects, not tools. Tonight we saw a beautiful, and I got to write that down about that pen that we saw earlier. That was really cool with the flashing light on the top of it. That is a room stopper. You pull that out at a dinner and have the pen flashing or a meeting. You're going to be the center of attention. And tonight we saw when it was done and cast it right. He made the blank. And we had a couple other people chime in on it. We're looking for those kinds of projects. And we can get little articles on it, but you can come and show them and display them and explain them and tell us where they came from. How did they come out of here and go here? And that's what we do each week. This was a good meeting. We had a fun time and all. And remember, folks, we're only here. Only reason we're here is to share information on wood turning. We're nothing else, but we're just sitting on the tailgate of the truck, having a good time, and nothing is sacred because we have no idea what we're doing. But we're having a good time. I'm going to duck out in a minute or two, but y'all going to keep cooking. The fire's hot. We got a lot of things going on. Hey, it was really good to see Mark Soleil up tonight. Really good. Mark's looking much better. Y'all remember, Mark was a little bit poor there for a while. He's bouncing back, and it's great to see him around. So if you got something to show, something to talk about, stay right here. You're tuned in to worldwidewoodturners.org. As I call it, your wood turning club. It's the only one like it. You built it. Thank you, folks. Good evening.
All right. Thank you, Captain Eddie. Yeah, so if we got a few more takers in here for some gallery, we got time to get them in. I'm going to forgive me for eyeballing the computer screen here. I'm just trying to catch up on comments. Go ahead, Ray. What you got, buddy?
We got quite an extensive list, so we might not get to everyone, but yep. You're up, Ray.
Let's power
All right.
through them.
Well, I've been out of I missed a few meetings, so I've got 3 bowls to show. This is a 280-year-old white oak. It's a little piece. I like this tree a lot, and so I tried to save every little piece of it I can. And so it was just kind of, turned out 320 and then finished with Axe's 3 step wood paste system.
Great.
And then this one is black cherry. And I turned it the same day, and I kept some sapwood on it. And then when I brought it in the house, my son said, "Hey, that looks like Spider-Man's face." So, and it was
I really like
bowl.
that bulb. Nice job, Ray. Very nice. Yeah, good form.
Like Otherwise, it would have been
Increase
kind
the
of just
value.
boring, kind of regular grain cherry. And then a tree cutting friend of mine, an arborist, went and called me for some burls. And I was talking to the homeowner, and she, it came that I was a wood turner. I wanted to make bowls out of it. Well, she wanted a bowl out of her tree. So this is from her red oak tree. And
Fantastic.
That's nice.
I like
Outstanding.
that.
Yeah.
Great job.
yeah. And then I know it's kind of a skill set to balance the horns and everything, but I like it asymmetrical stuff. So
Come out
I do
good.
too.
Very
Great job.
nice. I fully support
Great, Ray.
asymmetrical natural edge bowls. Nice job.
Yep.
all right. Thanks, y'all. You have a good one.
Yep. Thanks, Ray. Next up is Charlie. What you got, Charlie?
All righty. I had a friend of mine asked me to described it to me and asked me to make it. Anybody want to take a guess what that is?
No idea.
Can't see it enough.
Is
No
it a
clue.
plunger?
It's
Is it a plunger?
It's a cabbage masher.
Oh,
It's an old
for
style German.
for inside a crop to make
Yep.
sauerkraut. Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Cool.
And it's
Great.
not coated with anything because he said he didn't want coating on it.
Nope.
The acid from cabbage is strong. It might take off whatever coating.
That is
And
correct.
then I made another lighthouse.
Nice.
Oh wow. It's a bright one.
Ooh.
600 watts, huh?
Nice.
That's just one of them little 7-watt Christmas tree lights.
Nice.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Very nice.
That's
You
salted
could send a
maple.
bat signal with that one.
And the best part of it is, I'll shut it off. Oh, you can talk to me. That's fine. I'm muted. I'm off screen. You can. It's a tinted cover, and it's still bright. Was it talk from my computer?
Whoever's talking and thinks they're muted are not muted. Please mute yourself.
What you wanted to do? Did you look at one? I have an idea. And okay. I've been getting ready for Christmas. Make some snow people. They're not painted. They're not coated with anything. That's popple.
Very nice, Charlie.
Nice. That's all I got.
All right. Next up is Doug. What you got, Doug?
Hey guys, good to see you all. Got a couple of things real quick just to follow up on something Dane showed and a lot of talk in the chat. The pocket blower that's in the back of a handle that goes on a barrel bore, so it blows the air out through the tip. You can knock those shavings right out. Anyway, that's what I got that for. Well, I can't think who it was right now that showed that and suggested making them, and everybody ran out to find them. And so that's when I got mine. Follow up on last week. This is the second of the vases. This one was sprayed vertically. So it was sitting up just like it is now. Sprayed the water, the dark sprayed up, the white sprayed down, and came out real nice. Got a couple of natural water runs running down.
Very cool.
So
very cool.
Yeah, came out really nice. I really like it. And then this week's fun project that I just got completed today, got a cherry cup for the clock, some oak legs, and Osage orange. And then I got a new toy a couple of weeks ago that I've been playing with so that I can fix my bottoms. So a lot of fun. That's a laser pecker, by the way. It's not a big laser, but just a laser pecker, and it does a phenomenal job. I'm really tickled with it. So that's what I've done this week.
All right. Nice work, Doug.
Damn, Doug, you've outdone me on the laser pecker. I've had it for almost a year now, and I still haven't taken it out of the box.
Oh, it's simple and easy. Go for it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure of that. Just haven't gotten around to it. My wife's madder than hell at me.
Next up is Sue. What you got, Sue?
Oh,
No?
God, I can't compete with you guys. Come on.
It's not a competition.
You're good, Sue. Come on.
No, I'm not. I'm so stinking rookie. All right, I just tested it tonight. the PSI little tiny kits.
That's
Um,
lovely. Could you hold that steady for a minute there?
I don't know if I could, but anyway, I made the mistake when I turned this one. It's a little proud where it meets the base. So, but these are cool if you make them for anybody. You can just switch the bowl direction. Sorry,
Wow, that's interesting.
switch the bowl direction. That way it's nice and smooth. Difference is they won't stand up. You know what I mean? Like if you had them the other way, they will stand, but this way they'll just roll over. And Dane, here's for you. Beautiful funnel. What do I do with this?
Just go.
Besides
Just
a
go
clock
ahead.
face or a thermometer.
Just go ahead and connect that curve at the bottom, and you'll have yourself a big wide mouth funnel.
There you go.
You got enough wood
That's a
there to
good
do
idea.
it.
All right, I'll do
Just
that. I'll
just
definitely do
bring that bottom in. Just bring the bottom in to make a little nipple, and then have a flat, for it to sit in whatever vessel. You'd be good to
Oh,
go.
I like that idea. Wait, hang on. I like Matt's idea. The mandala.
Yeah, I just
Love
I
it.
did. Yeah, I dot painted it. So yeah. So this is a walnut
Awesome.
funnel. So yep.
Sweet. I'm gonna try that. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Yep. So next up is Dave Rhodes.
Okay, let's see. I finally got out and did some turning, and I'm not going to take it apart because I put it together last night and the weather changed and I can't get it apart now. Well, yes, I can if I really fight it, but it's a little snugger than it was intended to be. And I would tell you what wood it is, but I don't know what it is offhand. I just happened to find it around, so it's hardwood. And I decided everybody's making these, so I decided to make something like this. And I haven't drilled the hole through the bottom yet to get up. I'm going to put a little LED in it. And
That's pretty.
I'm
That's
gonna
pretty.
enjoy myself.
That's pretty. I like that.
Looks-
I
I
like
thought
the way
it
you
was
did
a great,
that.
island of its own to sit on, right?
Very nice.
That base made it.
That's it.
That is.
Oh, and
All
if
right,
you
very
notice,
cool.
I like lighthouses, so.
You do.
Yes.
Good job, Dave.
Yeah, that's a
So
nice
you,
one.
you've got some inspiration on your shelves too. Then okay, cool.
Yep.
Okay,
That's
next
nice.
up is Howard. What you got, Howard?
Well, we're after hours, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, we're just
not
I'm just
officially, but
extending
yeah.
it a little bit here.
Okay. Well, anyway, I got a three-winged triangular hollow form I made out of cedar.
I saw that on Facebook. It's beautiful.
It's
And
cool.
Yeah, it's a
and
great
this
piece.
thing was dropped, and this side was broke off and had some dents put in it, so it's been through the ringer pretty well. But I kind of got it back together. So
Looks good from here.
Very nice.
Now, Howard, do you have that other piece that you posted on Facebook too? The one with the stand and the finial? I really want to see that one too.
Sold it. Probably already sold it.
oh, the one with the sloping wings.
Yeah, that one.
Yes.
It's gone.
Yeah. Figured as much. See, told you.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah. It's long gone.
That's
But
very
that's a
nice.
nice
Also.
piece. I kind of want to keep it, but hey, money talks,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
You know what
that's
the
all
other-
I got.
What happens to the other?
What?
And you know what happens to the other? Money talks and
Yeah.
Well,
shit walks.
The other stuff walks. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, one thing, Dane, a fantastic demo. I think
Thank you.
anybody that's going to do a demo, they need to watch what you just did about 6 times in order to learn how to explain things and how to show things and how to do things. So,
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Good night.
Good night.
Good
Well,
night. Thanks,
see you
thanks,
after
Howard.
hours.
Beautiful stuff.
And we got Joaquin.
Okay.
Hey, the American Dream from Corpus
Oh
Christi.
my
Oh,
goodness.
yeah, right.
You mean I get to look at him 2 nights in a row?
It's been a while, buddy.
Well, my wife, she has a pumpkin collection of glass blown pumpkins. And so it's been years ago, I made her one and she dug it out and it's just a piece of, good night, what was it? I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a
Mesquite.
while. And it's just rustic, nothing shiny about
Nice.
anything, but there's a box,
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm. And she's happy with it and I need to make her some more. But
Right?
I have
What are you waiting on?
busy, buddy. I have the privilege of demoing for the Alamo Woodturners tomorrow night.
Oh,
Yes, he
outstanding.
does.
They asked me to do the leaning Christmas tree, and this is
Oh,
one.
yeah. That's right. You
This
I
is
told me
like
that.
this is the 5-section 3/4 inch offset on this one. That's the one I'll demo. This is a 7-section. It's got an 1.5-inch offset on it.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah. And
beautiful.
this is my prop showing them that
Yeah.
part of the turn and you want to saw it off. I have one that, this one here, the first one I turned, the little one experimenting. I turned the top in the lathe and it's bent over, but the top is going straight. And so, you've got to take the time to cut that off the angle you want, sand it and do whatever you want to it. I'll be showing them that. But I got a challenge myself is doing one this way. I did this in the lathe and the same procedure and everything. I want a little more curve on it. I want a star hanging on it out here. And
Oh, wow.
I haven't got enough curve on this one. I was using 1/8 inch increments and then sanded it down. So I got to go a little bit more and putting that star on
Right.
there. I'm not sure I'll be complete that, but that's my next challenge to go on these leaning
Cool.
trees. So,
Great.
Outstanding.
Good stuff.
thank
Beautiful
you.
stuff.
Thanks, Joaquin.
You betcha.
Hammer and
All
I, buddy.
right, Dan. That's exhausted my list of the people who stuck around for the end of it. So we're into the off
Okay.
hours, I guess, Dane.
All right, great. Yeah, so for now, this is the demarcation point, jumping off point for the main meeting, and essentially the start of the after hours.